Hello, this is Dr. J here with Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth, which I am playing on my Nintendo Switch. This is the first ever LP I'm doing off of a console instead of off my computer. I finally got the capture card set up to where I can also capture the audio, which required ordering a Chat Link Pro in order to be able to split the audio so I can hear it in my headphones and also send it to my console. I didn't realize I'd be needing one of those because I'm not chatting with anybody, so the name Chat Link Pro kind of threw me off. Anyway, we're going to go into the game settings, make sure that they look okay. As you can see, I have cleared this game before. It looks like at the time of this recording, I cleared it in the very recent past, but in fact, I cleared it, I don't know, over a month ago. That only has the very recent timestamp because I loaded it up for testing purposes, which is basically my way of saying I'm going to need to reacquaint myself with the controls because I'm old and a month is long enough for me to forget how to play a game these days. Anyway, instead of loading our clear data, we're going to go ahead and start a new game for this playthrough. Okay. Oh, it looks like this is basically a new game plus. I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. I can turn on all spirit magic acquired, but I'm going to leave that off. All weapons acquired, I'll leave that off. Level 1 fixed. Does that mean that I'm at level 1 forever and never gain levels? I'll definitely leave that off. Definitely not going to lock myself to 1 hit point either. Or locking myself to spirit level 1. So I'm just going to leave all these New Game Plus options off, but it's cool that they're there. And now we watch the intro. How poetic. Stage 1, in Japanese, and if it were in hiragana and katakana I could read it, but it includes kanji, so I cannot. Alright, and we get tutorialized now. Press Y to swing your sword, because Y is what I set it to in the controls. I'm pretty sure I changed it from the default by quite a bit. B to jump in my case. L to dash. And plus, which I always think of as start, because I'm old school, to check map and status and swap equipment. Alright, and blue dice means the enemy is weak to an element. Red dice means that they are strong versus that element. Okay, those are the basics. So, first thing we can do is admire the absolutely beautiful sprite work in this game. Look at that background. And obviously Deedlit herself with her long, flowing blonde hair, elven prettiness, and scandalously short skirt in all her pixelated glory. So, before we dive in too deeply, let me discuss what this game is about a little bit. So, it takes place in the World of the Lodoss franchise, Record of Lodoss War. Okay, I take a hit immediately because I didn't know that goblin was directly below me and it was off screen, so that felt a little cheap. We have acquired a goblin club. Okay, I'm remembering, that's right, how to switch weapons. Deedlit says, how strange. I don't normally use this, yet it feels so light. That's actually a hint to something, that ordinarily this would be too heavy of a weapon for Deedlit to use well. As it turns out, the Goblin Club is a crap weapon, and there's absolutely no reason for us to use it. We'll stick with Deedlit's signature rapier. But anyway, as I was saying, this game takes place within the world of Lodoss. Now, I know a little bit about the Lodoss franchise from having watched the television anime and the OVA, the original video animation. That's the only experience I have of the Lodoss franchise. There's also been a whole bunch of novels and manga for Lodoss, a lot of which I don't think were ever officially released in English, and I have no exposure to any of that. Which means I have a fair amount of background of Lodoss, and I know the major characters and some of the plot points, but there is a whole lot that I don't know that a hardcore Japanese fan of the story presumably would. It's kind of a little bit relevant because this game explains absolutely nothing, really. So if you don't know anything about the Lodoss franchise, don't expect this game to tell you any of it. It's not going to. Which is a little unfortunate because it kind of shuts non-Lodoss fans out of having any clue what any of this means. Anyway, that's enough babbling, so let's get this obvious floating item. It's Sylph, the Spirit of Wind, is now at our command. Alright, press and hold B while controlling Sylph to hover, and you can ascend a little bit, not very much though. And when you freeze in place, if you hit L, and can attack in a specific direction without moving. So Deedlit commands elemental spirits. I'm pretty sure that the origin of Lodoss, here's our save button, which is one of the goddesses of Lodoss. I don't know, is that Marfa? I'm not positive. Thrusting her sword skyward. But I'm pretty sure the origin of Lodoss was actually from a Dungeons & Dragons campaign that the creator Ryo Mizuno had a D&D campaign he ran for his friends, and they actually took their gaming sessions and published them, which is known as replays in Japan, and they were popular enough that eventually Lodoss grew into an entire multimedia franchise with anime, manga, novels, and video games. The reason that's relevant is I suspect the addition of D&D that... Oh, story. We'll continue this another time. Parn is Deedlit's love. He's a knight. There's not much else to say about him, to be honest. Well, we get a staticky screen and a creepy eye looking at us in the background. Carla is a dark sorceress who is immortal, and she's like a spiritual parasite infesting people's bodies. She's currently infesting the body of Lelia, which is why Deedlit called her that at first. Carla's being very demanding. Deedlit wisely says she won't swear her loyalty to her, because why should she? One more lost soul shall arrive. That's not just a throwaway line. That's going to end up being quite meaningful. Honestly, this game's story isn't really integrated into the world of Lodoss, particularly into the plot. We'll see what I mean as we go along by that statement. It's kind of hard to explain a little bit. Oh, we got a new weapon already, an imp spear. So it's a little slower, but has better power than our rapier. And it's got better reach. We'll see if we like it better. It is definitely slower. But I'm pretty sure that the edition of D&D that Lodoss started out as was basic D&D. The reason I suspect that is because it really seems like Deedlit is a classic basic Dungeons & Dragons elf. Which is to say she's basically a fighter magic user. And that makes her the most versatile character. She can both fight and use magic. Which, aside from the fact that she's a Babely elf and therefore very popular with the fans, was maybe a motivation for making her the star of this game, because all the other members of their adventuring party are much more specialized, so they wouldn't have as varied gameplay. But because Deedlit is a classic basic Dungeons & Dragons elf, meaning she's a fighter mage, or for you Final Fantasy fans, she's like a red mage. It means she provides the most varied gameplay, and therefore probably the most interesting gameplay. Whereas if you played as like Parn doesn't know any magic. He doesn't even use any ranged attacks, he's just a swordsman. Which could still be a lot of fun, but you certainly wouldn't have as much variety in what you could do. Let's see, trying to remember how to use my bow. I don't think I can use a bow yet, I don't think I've gotten it. Anyway, we take out these goblins, who are always and everywhere weak enemies, no matter what game you're talking about. Alright, we got our second spirit, second of two, so we now have both of them. This is Salamander, the Spirit of Flame. We press R to switch between them, and we're basically playing Ikaruga now, because if you use a spirit that matches the element of attacks you're taking, then you drain it and gain MP instead of taking damage. And once you increase your spirit level to level 3, and you increase your spirit level by defeating enemies, I am pretty sure, then you regain hit points as long as you have that spirit selected. And you gain levels for the spirit you currently don't have selected, which is an important point. Alright, now since we're controlling Salamander, we can blow up this explosive barrel. This mechanic actually doesn't come up very often. There's very few explosive barrels in the game. And we get a new weapon, a knife, which doesn't sound like it would be impressive, but actually it's the best weapon we've found so far. Very, very fast. I love really fast attacking weapons, though its reach is pretty crap. Just in case you're curious and want to know more about basic Dungeons & Dragons and the properties of elves and the other classes and races, you can check out my Warriors of the Eternal Sun LP, which is about a game that is based on the basic Dungeons & Dragons rules, and is also a really awesome game. So give that a look if you're interested. But I really like the Lodoss franchise, and this game in particular, precisely because, having originally been based on a Dungeons & Dragons campaign, it very much has that classic fantasy feel. It doesn't try too hard to do anything really weird or be super clever. It's just all of the classic fantasy tropes. You got elves, you got dwarves, you got goblins, you've got a war-torn fantasy world full of classic monsters. I love it. This type of fantasy is classic for a reason. It's classic because it works and has enduring appeal. Not that there's anything wrong with more experimental or alternative types of fantasy either, but I think that my heart really lies with this sort of classic fantasy the most. Alright, obviously these doors with the lock icons on them are doors that we won't be able to get through until we get a key of the corresponding color. And this, of course, is a warp point, as you probably guessed if you've ever played a Metroidvania game. This is a Metroidvania. Between the two parts of that genre, it's much more in the Vania category than the Metroid category. It has a lot in common with Symphony of the Night, if you couldn't already tell. It's very clearly inspired by that. And personally, I think that's awesome, because Symphony of the Night was an incredible game. Castlevania games in general are super awesome, so I love playing any game that has that sort of... that's based on that sort of gameplay. And then you combine it with classic fantasy and Lodoss, and then you have something really special going. I'm just taking a moment to admire the statuary in the background. Lots of really good work went into the environments in this game. Look at those cool looking evil, I don't know, eagles, hawks, crows, whatever they are, they're pretty cool. Alright, so let's continue exploring. Another save point. In addition to saving, save points also fully heal you. We're going to need the bow before we can proceed there. We have not found the bow yet. There's also, in typical Castlevania style, statues of very Greek statuesque women in the background that will get more and more scantily clad as we go, because I don't know what it is about Castlevania games, but there's just nudity everywhere. Now, this is something that's a little weird. These meat chunks are how you can charge up your spirits and regain health, which is fine, but I don't understand why it's not just like an orb you can collect. The aesthetics of this just feel a little weirdly out of place to me for some reason. Anyway, considering that we have these health power-ups, makes me wonder if we're approaching something dangerous. Nope, we're not. We just got the bow. Excellent. Alright. X to hold the bow, release it to shoot. You use MP to fire arrows, which is less annoying than if you actually had to pick up arrows as an item and had a limited supply of them. Move left or right while holding X, and up and down can be used to aim. And you can use L to aim slowly. And you can ricochet arrows off metallic walls for cool trick shots. Oops. Gotta pull out the bow first. Like so. You do not get killed by your own arrows, fortunately. Get out of here, you. Alright, so... was it over here that we encountered the place that we needed the bow to proceed? It sure was. So we can use the bow to fire through the rope and cause the gate to drop. And just do the same thing here. There will be some more difficult trick shots later on. Here we have to do a ricochet. Still not difficult. This is just tutorializing, basically. Okay, so this is a little harder. This will probably just ricochet downward and get stuck. Yes. But if we ricochet it off the door... Not like that, though. At more of an angle. Oh, no, I'm an idiot. Pardon me, everyone. I'm just being a complete moron. There we go. Incredibly obvious puzzle that I just derped out on for a moment. Oh, a gargoyle. So, through a lot of the game, the enemies are going to be kind of passive. And really easily defeated as long as you're fast, because they take a moment before they bother to attack you. Overall, I would say this is a pretty easy game, but that doesn't stop it from being fun. Alright, we got Alien Bident, whatever the heck this is. A double-sided, or a double-bladed spear used by the hero Alien. So it has a lot more reach than the knife, but the knife actually has slightly more speed, and they have the same amount of attack power. The audio is extremely loud in my headphones, but looking at the audio level in Streamlabs, it looks like it should be about right. So even though it's almost blowing out my eardrums, hopefully it'll sound okay to you viewers. Alright, we can't jump up through that, so we just don't have the jump height we need. So we're going to have to go another way. Alright, and you pass through spirit walls by just changing your spirit to match the element of the wall that you're running through. Alright, we have now unlocked all the blue doors. And we got our first magic spell. Which is basically Magic Missile, even though that's not what it's called. Alright, so it's already selected. We'll go ahead and test it out when we encounter an enemy. Here we go. Make sure I'm on the right spirit. More static with the creepy eye in the background. It's Slain, the party mage. So my biggest complaint about this game, as I said, is the plot and the way it uses the Lodoss characters, and the fact that it doesn't explain itself at all to anyone who doesn't know Lodoss. So it's like, I know who Slain is. You know, I remember him being part of the party, and that he's the party wizard and so on. So, you know, I have at least a little bit of a connection to the guy from having watched the anime. Trying to remember how to bring up the map. What was the button to do that again? Sorry, viewers, a moment while I derp out again. Oh, it's literally right in front of me. God. Be kind in the comments, please. Okay, literally this is the map. Okay, so the direction we haven't explored is straight upward. I'm trying to think of interesting things to comment about at the same time I'm playing. There we go, let's cast our spell. Like I said, it's basically Magic Missile. It homes in, it can't miss. It does quite a bit of damage. It's actually incredibly potent. Right, we couldn't go that way. That's why we haven't gone up in that direction. Whoa! Hey, buddy. I don't remember you. You're new. A Dragon Tooth Warrior. I think these guys just regrow no matter how much you kill them. Like I was saying, the plot in this game is, in my opinion, really weak. It's actually probably pretty obvious from very early on, sort of the gist of what's happening. Although I won't give it away for the sake of spoilers, just in case it's actually, you know, a mystery to anybody watching. And the characters, the way they're used, it's like they don't actually adventure with you or anything. It would be kind of hard to make that work since it's a Metroidvania. So doesn't it all feel like you're actually joining together with the classic Lodoss adventuring party? It's like you just happen to run into the characters. They are cryptic and unhelpful. And then they just kind of run off. So it's almost like a really poor use of the characters. This is Gim, the party dwarf. If adventure is what you seek, I will entrust to you the seed. Whatever that means. Are you coming on to me, Gim? If adventure is what you seek. Alright, and then he has some weapons and stuff for sale. I don't think I ever bought any consumables in my first playthrough of this, so I'm clearly not going to have to do so on the second playthrough either. Let's see. We have 192 money. Doesn't even bother to say gold pieces. So we can't afford anything, really. Well, we'll be back, maybe. Although for the most part, you find better weapons than anything he sells anyway. So I didn't really make much use of Gim either in my first playthrough. Alright, that's the teleport point, but we haven't unlocked any other teleport points, so that's no good to us yet. Okay, so direction we haven't gone is up and to the left. So let's explore that next. Get wrecked, you. As I said, a lot of this game is pretty easy. Especially the early to mid-game random enemies are very passive and easily dispatched. The boss fights are more interesting. And the random encounters eventually become more threatening. Alright, we actually can't go this way at all because we're going to need a double jump, I believe, before we can get up there. If the sound balance is messed up in any way, I'll have it corrected for the second video. As I said, it looks okay, the sound levels in Streamlabs, but in my headphones it sounds ridiculously loud. I'm just happy that I finally got this setup working. The number of cords that I have strewn around my office to get this to work is ridiculous. And a little concerning, considering that I have a mischievous cat. I'm a little worried she's going to run in here and, like, hit a cord and pull the whole setup down and cause serious destruction of delicate and expensive electronic equipment. But we'll see how it goes. Alright, we haven't been this way. Oh, it's another teleport point. I'm going to try to keep an eye out for cracks in the walls, because there are secrets in this game. There's certainly a chance that I'll forget about that and miss some of them. Alright, this is all new. We can't slide yet, so we can't get through there. Once we gain the ability to slide, we'll be able to go through that. This is standard Metroidvania stuff. You see these areas that you can't reach yet, and oftentimes it's pretty obvious what kind of ability you're going to need to get there in the future. Did I just go in a circle? I certainly did. Oh, I see the new place we can go. We've unlocked the blue doors, and there's a blue door to the left and down. Okay. Got it. I really like the interconnectedness of Metroidvania levels as opposed to being completely separate, discrete stages. And I like the exploration aspect. I am a big fan of Metroidvania as a genre. As you can see, despite having cleared this game once, and it was only like a month or two ago, I guess closer to 2 months, but either way, it wasn't that long ago, and even then, I've already forgotten so much. Oh, goodness. The ravages of age. Alright, the background is changing a bit here, as we're getting into sort of more of a cathedral, an evil cathedral-looking location. Got a creepy, faceless angel demon thing here. That's pretty cool. More of the creepy hawk, eagle, crow things. I like the subtle sense of menace as the background changes and becomes more ominous like this. I always like admiring those little environmental details. You see what I mean about how incredibly passive the early enemies are. Oh, here's something new, and this is also illustrating that Castlevania-style nudity. A harpy. We'll be encountering a number of topless monster girls. Get wrecked. Alright, we now have a new bow, the Jeweled Bow. It is slower but more powerful than the original bow. A beautiful decorative bow adorned with precious metals. Sounds valuable. But yeah, all the sprite work in this game is gorgeous. This game is a visual treat. Just looks amazing. Alright, I've switched my spirit for 2 reasons. One, to regain hit points, and secondly, to start recharging the other spirit. However, as we saw, the lizard men are straight up immune to fire damage. I guess because they're fire-spitting lizard men. Cockatrice down, imp down. A lot of these things are monsters straight out of Dungeons & Dragons as well. Ryo Mizuno, the creator, eventually made his own RPG system and didn't just stick with Dungeons & Dragons forever. I'm not positive, but I think he was one of the creators of Sword World. I actually have fan-translated PDFs of some of the Sword World books for... It's a pen and paper RPG. It would be interesting to try it sometime. I've never played it yet. Here we have... This is hilarious. So obviously this is some kind of, Greek physique angel statues with some dude who's extremely buff from the waist up. But he's got these skinny little chicken legs. There's a guy who skips leg day every day. I don't know why that cracks me up so much. As I said, I really like looking at little environmental details like that. It's just a quirk of mine. Oh wow, I thought he would just fire straight to the left, so I ducked, thinking his fireball would pass over me. As you saw, it did not. He actually aimed straight at me. So that did not work out the way I thought it was going to. These guys are a little bit resistant to fire, but not too much. Alright, we come to another one of these puzzles. Oh, that was fun. Not effective, but fun. Okay. Maybe I want a shallower angle. Nope. That was close. Maybe I actually want a sharper angle. That did it. Ha! Nice try. Get wrecked. Oh, right. He's immune. Okay. The gargoyles are slightly resistant to fire, but not that much. And they spit fire, so fire form is a good one to be in to take them on. Alright, now we have once again maxed out both of our spirits. Oh ho! We get a save point. Not that we need it, but meat of full refill. And that green mist can only mean one thing: boss battle incoming. A green dragon named Abram, further illustrating Lodoss's D&D roots. There are dragons of the classic colors of chromatic dragons from D&D. There's red, green here, there's a black dragon. However, I don't think classic... In fact, I'm sure that classic D&D green dragons aren't water dragons, but in this case, Abram is, so that's one small difference. Anyway, this dragon is just one of various powerful dragons on Lodoss. I don't think there's that much else to say about him. And all he says is cryptic nonsense, so once again, the storytelling's not great. You shall realize your own foolishness, and then he attacks. Okay, great, whatever. Oh, okay. I need to remember how to fight this guy. I should probably be using my bow? I remember this, right? Yeah, I have to jump over him. Okay, at least my memory hasn't completely failed me. Alright, we can't attack him here. Alright, and I remembered that. So I've remembered a little bit. Anyway, he's definitely a difficulty spike. He's certainly harder than the random mooks we've been killing. But he's just the first boss, so he's not all that difficult, really. That can be tricky to dodge if you don't know it's coming, because it happens very fast. I do notice there's some lag going on. Uh-oh, am I gonna... Nope, I didn't take the hit. I dodged it just in time. Although he did give me contact damage as he was pulling back. Get wrecked, Abram. It's a fun boss battle. The boss battles in this game in general are a lot of fun. I like them a lot. But yeah, there's definitely some slowdown in this game. I don't know why. There's no reason why there should be. It must be programming inefficiencies. Anyway, we defeated him on the first try quite handily. Only took a couple of hits. Pretty proud of that. Alright, we have acquired Soul Crystal Ball. What it's used for is unknown. Okay, well let's head back and see... Oh, by the way, funny thing. The very first time I played this game and defeated Abram, he did not drop the Soul Crystal Ball, and the openings on either side of the boss arena did not open, so I was stuck in here. So I had to reload and do the boss fight over again. That was a pretty funny bug. Anyway, now that we've defeated the first boss, we're going to go ahead and save it, and we're going to go ahead and call the first episode here. Hopefully you've been enjoying this playthrough. I think this game is pretty awesome. So, we're going to continue next time with more of Deedlit and her scandalously short skirt. Hopefully, you'll join me for that, and I'll see you then.